You know you need to take action. You know it's a simple, obvious step toward achieving your goal. You know exactly what to do. However, there's a moment you've likely felt 1,000 times. You don't feel motivated. And because you don't feel motivated, the action feels wrong somehow, a little off. Like you're forcing something that isn't quite ready. So you hesitate. You wait. You tell yourself you'll do it when that feeling shows up. And the feeling you're waiting for rarely arrives on time. Hey there, it's me, Core, and you're listening to Exercising Self-Control from Fitness to Flourishing. That perspective you have quietly works against you. When you try to take action without motivation, it feels like the action itself is flawed, or that you're not in the right headspace to do it well. You don't just want to go through the motions. That's how you get poor results. And you want great results. So you wait for the feeling to change. You wait for the motivation to show up so you can feel, yes, this is going to work. In the end, you take action, but with little expectation of success. Or you put it off altogether. You just don't bother. You wait. The longer you wait, the more you reinforce the idea that you can't act without feeling motivated first. So your standard drops, your momentum breaks, and you feel even less motivated than before. This is the real cost. You train yourself to wait for the motivation to arrive, that you can't move until you feel ready. And every time you decide to wait, that training is reinforced. There's an assumption there. Motivation comes before action. That it's the fuel that drives action. You assume the feeling is the signal to go, that everything is going to work out. But that's the trap. Motivation isn't a prerequisite for action. It's actually a byproduct. It doesn't lead your behavior. It responds to it. And the more you wait for motivation, the more you teach yourself that you can't move until the emotional conditions are perfect. That's the belief that keeps you stuck. So, if you do have this perspective, here's the shift. You don't need motivation to take action. You need a decision. A decision to act without waiting for the feeling, to follow through even when your emotional state isn't ideal. You need the decision that says, I move first. The feeling can catch up. That reframe changes how you approach your tasks, what you know you must do. Motivation isn't the starting point. Motivation responds to movement. When you decide to take action first, you generate the motivation you were waiting for. Action creates motivation. It also generates momentum, which then feeds the motivation. You see yourself in action and you start to imagine the possibilities. Momentum leads to progress because now you're taking action. Things are happening. You're moving forward. You're learning things you could not have learned any other way. You're moving in the direction you want to move. And you can see the progress you're making, which then builds more motivation. But the key is action. The decision to act comes first. Once you understand that sequence, you stop waiting for the right feeling and start building an identity that doesn't depend on it. This is how you become consistent, how you build trust in yourself. This is how you create momentum and motivation on demand. If you want to stop waiting for motivation and train yourself to act as a matter of choice, start your day one inside the Act Score Challenge. That's it for today. Catch you next time.